Welcome to Train Hot Dog, the podcast where I talk to myself on a train. Today we're going to be researching OpenFL and whether it's a realistic replacement for using for Flash developed style development of games in a Flash-like environment with deployment to the web, for example. Because I'm curious. Alright, Ghostery, do your thing. OpenFL. Go. OpenFL.org OpenFL enables creative expression for the desktop, mobile, and web. Enterprise applications and best-selling games are made in OpenFL. Publishing native Flash and HTML5 applications using one seamless toolset. Get started. Not quite yet. OpenFL uses the familiar Flash API, but goes everywhere that Flash Player cannot. Use a familiar workflow to accelerate development and even leverage Adobe Animate as an integrated art pipeline. Flexible open source, unlock potential with an open hackable platform. I should be reading Wikipedia, not an ad for the game. But apparently Papers, Please was written in it, so that's something. Here's a GitHub repository. Okay, here's Wikipedia. OpenFL is a free and open source software framework and platform for the creation of multi-platform applications and video games. OpenFL projects are written in the HAX programming language and may be published SWF bytecode or standalone applications for Microsoft Windows, macOS, Linux, iOS, and Android, or to the web using HTML5. OpenFL is designed to fully mirror the Flash API. SWF files created with Adobe Flash Professional or other authoring tools may be used in OpenFL programs. Okay, so an obvious test would be to plug one of my games into it as is and see if it runs. Notable mobile video games developed in OpenFL include the BAFTA award-winning game Papers, Please and the PlayStation role game Rimmed Capsule. Really? PlayStation Mobile? So wait, the PlayStation Mobile was C# only. Did they write is there like a C# back end? Is there like a mono game back end to this as well? Maybe it's just a mono game back end to begin with. References, see also HAX Adobe Air. Gamasutra blog, Flash is dead. I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. Lars Doucet. Flash is dead, long live OpenFL.
Doors are closing. Doors are closing.
I've been a stalwart Flash developer for 15 years, so nothing bothers me more than the greatly exaggerated reports of Flash's premature demise. Even today, Flash remains a very viable platform with a large install base and a relatively healthy commercial ecosystem. Many awesome games have been written in Flash and/or Adobe Air, including our own Defender's Quest, which to date has sold over 125,000 copies. But even a long-time Flash booster like myself can read the signs of the time. Flash may not be dead, but it is certainly dying, and the killer is not Steve Jobs' mobile devices or HTML5, but Adobe. They are slowly neglecting Flash to death. They dropped support for the mobile Flash player as well as Air on Linux, handed Flex over to Apache, canceled the long-awaited ActionScript 4 standard. Although right this minute the Flash player still has a big install base, and Air remains a great way to reach mobile devices, there's no signs of strong future support. Flash just doesn't seem like a priority for Adobe anymore, and Moki Media's recent shutdown is the canary in the coal mine. As a developer, I don't give a damn. Okay, come on. Just tell me the good stuff. Okay, this is like a big Papers, Please screenshot. You write your code in Hex and you link against the OpenFL library to get the functionality of the Flash API. Which means you keep making Flash games, but you also get Mac, Windows, Linux, and mobile targets all at native speed. I wonder if that means, oh, I forgot the name of Flash's 3D API already. Anyway, I wonder if it has that support. At the very bottom, you have Hex itself, the language you're going to be using to write code in. Basically, you write code in Hex, and special Hex compiler turns your high-level Hex code into source code from other languages, depending on what flags you pass in. Using Hex by itself requires little more than command line and text editor. You can certainly write cross-platform games using nothing but Hex, but that's kind of hardcore. The Hex compiler will just spit out a bunch of C++ code or JavaScript or whatever, which for idiots like me isn't very useful. This is where OpenFL and Lime come in. One step up from bare metal Hex programming is Lime, which stands for Lightweight Media Engine. Lime is part of the OpenFL project and provides a simple, lightweight, and cross-platform drawing API. This handles things like windowing, asset loading, blitting pixels, drawing routines, and interfacing with OpenGL, OpenGL-ES, and SDL stuff. Also, Lime makes cross-platform support a bit easier. Whereas Hex has output targets like C++, JavaScript, C#, etc., Lime has output targets like Mac, Windows, Linux, Android, iOS, and so forth. Mac, Windows, and Linux targets all use C++ code, but they need special tweaks to properly handle file I/O, windowing, etc. The Hex compiler and hxlibc/hxcpp libraries bootstrap your native targets, and Lime sets up all the input-output display boilerplate for you. You can totally make games with Lime without ever touching OpenFL. In fact, having Lime as a separate library is a recent development. Before, all those routines were just part of OpenFL. This caused two problems. OpenFL had a lot of boilerplate stuff that wasn't related to the Flash API, which was confusing. Some Hex developers wanted cross-platform support but didn't want the Flash API. Splitting Lime off into its own lower-level thing solved both problems. Now all the basic drawing guts are in Lime, and if you hate Flash API and wish it would die in a fire, you never have to touch it. Just use Lime and be happy. OpenFL, high-level graphics layer plus Flash API. On top of Lime is OpenFL itself. Here we have higher-level graphics calls with abstraction layers and a Flash-style display list. In fact, we even have the same package structure. In Flash ActionScript, you could always do stuff like this. Here's some code, and I'm not going to read. In OpenFL, you can do the exact same thing: sprites, movie clips, the display list, the stage, events. Sorry, I just remembered something funny, but I'm not going to tell you because it happened on the podcast, so you already know the story. Displays, the stage, events, etc. all handled just like Flash. Some minor differences include audio. It works fine on different platforms, but since OpenFL is a fully open source port, they can't cover the draconian world of MP3 licensing. So MP3 playback only works on the Flash target. For everything else, you have to use OGG or WAV files. That's fine by me. If you use OpenFL, you can create exactly the same Flash content you can create right now in ActionScript. That's because in the Flash target, you're making an actual Swift file. And all you have to do is access the Flash API to use it. The Flash player has all that functionality built in. On native targets, the OpenFL developers had to actually rebuild the same functionality of the C++ code, etc. Wait, so are they replicating Flash, like a Flash Swift playback engine within OpenFL? Is that what's happening? By the way, this article is from 2014, so probably things are different now. Hex Flixel, game framework layer. What about HTML5? At the lowest level, you can just write JavaScript in Hex, and it will generate JS just fine, with the added benefit of enforcing type safety and other niceties that make JavaScript development more palatable. If you don't want to reinvent the wheel, you can use OpenFL. OpenFL's HTML5 target as of this writing is the least mature of all supported platforms. However, it's been getting a lot of love recently. Like in the last few weeks, it's made some amazing strides. I predict we'll have a fully mature HTML5 target very soon. I want to know if... Okay, here's a link to a blog post. A few days ago, Mochi Media announced that it was shutting its doors. 10 years ago, we were developing rich interactive content in Flash Player. Historically, Flash has meant three things: a productive developer workflow, a polarizing browser plugin, a fast superhero. Okay, yeah, good, thanks. Two of these are here to stay, but one is not to last. Come on, give me the good stuff. We believe the Flash is an amazing workflow, but we also believe that in order to deliver the products you want to deliver, you need more than a plugin. OpenFL provides native yada yada yada. Pixie.js is a super fast HTML5 2D rendering engine that uses WebGL with Canvas fallback and happens to be based on the Flash API, though at a small scale. We believe that a lot of value comes from the ability to leverage a fuller API and is not tied directly to bloat. In our testing, we have exceeded Pixie's Canvas performance by 40% on some systems, and thanks to Hax's dead code elimination feature, a buddy mark sample is only 22 KB gzipped. Well, that might be a thing. What about consoles? Okay. The Wii U has Nintendo Web Framework for first-class HTML5 target for making games and apps. That's weird. Limitations. Documentation is a bit thin. Open source be crazy. Hax doesn't hold your hand. It's not magic. There are minor differences in visual output between C++ and Flash targets. For instance, the way exactly rounded rectangles rasterize, etc. You need to know where the abstractions leak and shift your mindset to the native programming model. Most of you won't ever have to roll up your sleeves and add raw C++ code to one of OpenFL's native backends, but it's definitely possible. The easiest way to start is just use Hax to keep making Flash games. That requires very little additional effort and will get you the same exact results coding an action script. You can even package Swift files created in Hax's Air games if you want. C++ debugging is still a work in progress. What about debugging Hax script? Flash Develop has support for that, but okay, let's see. You can very easily use an IDE like Flash Develop to debug your Flash code, and if there's an error on Flash, there will likely be an error in the other targets as well. Okay, that is probably good enough. Okay, OpenFL Stage 3D is a thing, or was. So that's potentially not bad. Are there any new OpenFL games? OpenFL Showcase. A Good Snowman is hard to build. Okay, I played that game and it was a good game. Defender's Quest, that's something the guy was just talking about. Rimmed Capsule. Here's a bunch of games. Here's a bunch more games. Windows. Okay, here's like Windows. I don't know, what was I looking at before if it wasn't Windows? These are featured games. Okay. HTML5. Okay. Yeah. I'm not recognizing most of these, but that doesn't mean they're not, reasonably well made. There's still I wonder Yeah, so that article was from 2014. I wonder if there's a way to search for like some evangelism from 2016. I'm just searching for OpenFL evangelism. OpenFL founder Joshua Granick joins FlowPlay. Scientist in residence. What is FlowPlay? And does this mean he's no longer working on OpenFL? He will continue to operate as MD for OpenFL. Well, I guess that's probably good. I have no idea who this guy actually is. Replacing Flash with OpenFL, that's in 2014. Flash IDE will integrate with open source Hacks OpenFL platform. It's also 2014. Is that referring to the actual like official Adobe Flash IDE? Clicking on a link. Click on a link again. Maybe it didn't work last time. Waiting for a link. Flash CC now has an SDK for creating custom project file formats, so you can use the IDE to prepare content for not the Flash player. When they demoed the feature at Adobe Max, they brought out Joshua Granick to show off a custom OpenFL project format that lets you make Flash art in Flash CC, then compile it to HTML5, Flash, and C++. That's kind of a big deal. Okay, so this is shit I don't care about because I never used the official IDE. OpenFL. What about Flash Develop? Flash Develop. Stable release 44 days ago. That's probably good. History. Features. That's not a very useful Wikipedia page. Flash Develop OpenFL. Setting up Flash Develop for Hacks 3 and OpenFL development. That's from 2013, so I guess this support is recent-ish. OpenFL Flash Develop setup workflow. Problem setting up Hacks Flixel OpenFL. New OpenFL project won't build. This is all 2013. Like, if this library has not been used by anybody since 2013, this is... Okay, I know what to do. Stack Overflow. I'm just going to search for OpenFL on Stack Overflow. And hope it doesn't autocorrect to OpenGL. That's a question from 2013. Yeah, okay. Alright. Yeah, this is not many things have the OpenFL tag in Stack Overflow. Not many things did in 2014 though either. Still, that's worrisome in terms of like how well it's supported and how widely it's used. Maybe I could search Twitter. I'll search Twitter to see if anybody's talking about it on Twitter. That'll give me their most recent stuff. Lars Doucette is the top result because he's an OpenFL contributor. At OpenFL, modular HTML5 builds. Okay, here's a bunch of like things they just added. TheWoodenTable.com is built using Hack's OpenFL and StableX UI. I don't know what you're talking about. Joshua Granick. We support this in OpenFL Lime using Hack's libname equals. Okay, there's some discussion happening, and that's top. Live, it's not that much more frequent than top, but people are talking about it. Very well. That is the end of this episode of Train Hot Dog, and hopefully that was interesting to you. And if not, it was interesting to me. So, good night.